Prova Cycles all the way from Australia, and I was really impressed with this bike. The build quality on it is exquisite, to be quite frank, and it also has lots of little hidden details in the design, and of course it's made of titanium, so that's pretty nice too. So Mark, perhaps you could talk us through some of these details.
Yeah, sure.
Where would you like to start?
I suppose we'll start with the drivetrain because that's probably the most sort of different part to most people's hardtail. So this bike is built around the Pinion C112 gearbox, so 12-speed gearbox. I've built a few Pinion bikes now for myself, and I feel like maybe more suited to kind of the more enduro end of the mountain bike side. There's definitely a little bit more drag compared to a normal drivetrain, but obviously you have the added benefit of not having anything to smash off and a heap of clearance, like with a tiny chainring. Using Pinion drivetrain means you need to be able to adjust the chainstay length to tension the chain or the belt. In this case, this is a belt drive compatible frame, but in this case we've fitted some custom titanium chainring and cob to it, and it's a one-to-one gearing, and also we need to change the chainstay length and tension the chain. So we've got our own design of dropout, which is additively manufactured out of titanium. It uses the through axle to clamp the adjusters, and then has a tensioning rub screw that goes up the inside.
Okay.
The goal is to have the dropouts look as close to a conventional dropout as possible on a normal bike, rather than be too bulky or look like an adjustable dropout.
Cool. And then the Pinion shell is 3D printed.
Yes, that's
as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I've seen how normally the amount of CNC machining waste there would be if you were to like make one. So this is like a really efficient way of creating one. I'll hand it over to you. You can tell some of the details that in it as well.
So this bike is built to run a dropper post as long as possible, like right down to the bottom. So we have external bosses to enable that, so the post is going all the way down to here. There's a funnel built into the bottom of the seat tube that goes into a tube that comes up into the down tube, so you can poke the hose down or the cable down, and it'll basically come out into the down tube. And also the brake hose comes into the chainstay at the back, and then basically goes straight into this funnel here inside the 3D print and comes out underneath, and there's a little clip holds it to the underside of the frame mount, so you can slide the gearbox in nice and easily.
So super neat, tidy, and no rattling there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then beautifully finished too.
Yeah, this bike's featuring an anodized finish, so no paint on this bike. It's an electronic process where the frame is immersed in a solution and a current supplied, and it changes the thickness of the oxide layer. So the reason why titanium is so cool is that it forms an oxide around it very quickly, which stops it from corroding, and we can change the thickness of that oxide layer, which then changes the way the light bounces back off and changes the colour. In this case it's a green, and it's a matte finish, so before we anodize it we actually media blasted it and then anodize it, so we get like a kind of matte dull finish compared to the shiny finish on the back.
And then tell us about these handlebars.
Yeah, so I wanted to, this is my own bike, and I kind of, every time I build myself a bike I'm kind of experimenting with geometry, and I wanted to increase the front centre without slackening the head tube angle anymore. So I've built my own custom one-piece bar stem, so it's a 25mm stem length. So I've got a tapered 31/8 type bar, 780 wide, and I've made a 3D printed titanium, essentially a stem, but it's a very small stem, and then that's been TIG welded to the main bar.
Sweet. Thank you very much. It is exquisite and
Thank you.
Very beautiful. Thank you
Cheers.
very much for coming all this way.
No problem.